Epiphany of the Lord. And star poverty. Gold, incense, myrrh. Welcome to our channel that compares themes of the Gospel and Franciscan Sources. Today we will delve deeper into the meaning of the manifestation of the Lord in the experience of the founders of Franciscanism. For a more complete overview of our human, cultural and spiritual proposal, we suggest you visit the website juvie.art. Matthew 2 verses 1 to 12. The Epiphany of the Lord offers evangelical expressions of extraordinary beauty. On the lips of the three kings we find a phrase that belongs to us, as worshippers of the child of Bethlehem. We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. Matthew 2:2. In Francis of Assisi, the breadth, height, and depth of the mystery of the manifestation of the Son of God has singular connotations that should not be overlooked. Just think of some passages in the sources that record its measure. The saint willingly stopped in the hermitage of Greccio, both because he saw it as rich in poverty, and because from a secluded cell, built on the prominent rock, he could dedicate himself more freely to the contemplation of celestial things. This is the very place where some time before he had celebrated the Christmas of the child of Bethlehem, becoming a child with the child. Sources 6:21. Again, she could not think back without crying to how much poverty the poor virgin had found herself in. Once, while he was sitting at lunch, a friar reminded him of the poverty of the Blessed Virgin and the indigence of Christ her Son. He immediately rose from the table, burst into sobs of pain. For this reason he called poverty a royal virtue, because it shone with such splendor in the king and queen. Sources 7:88. The star that guides Francis to the cave to adore the Son of God is poverty. This shines in the penury of Bethlehem and moves him to tears. To the child God, the little one of Assisi offers the gold of his love for the poor, the fire of his continuous contemplation of the mystery, and the myrrh of the numerous sufferings received in custody from the gift of the Father, unrolled for us on earth. His closeness to the people was such that he wore a very poor tunic, which resembled the rough tunic of the less well-off. Even all his sons, the friars, were close to the people, and all this made him an adorer par excellence of the naked divinity, dressed only in flesh, a figure close to the needs of man. One day a poor man asked him for alms, and he, having nothing in his hands, unstitched a corner of his tunic and gave it to the poor man. Other times, for the same purpose, he even took off his trousers. Such was the tender compassion he felt for the poor, and such was the affection that drove him to follow in the footsteps of the poor Christ. Sources 6:77. And he tried, with the utmost care, to inform his friars of this gift of himself to the king in the poor. An episode attests to this. He was certainly good-hearted by nature, but he became doubly so through the charity that was given to him from above. Whatever need and whatever necessity he saw in others, he referred them to Christ. Thus in all the poor she recognized the Son of the poor, Our Lady, and carried naked in her heart the one whom she had carried naked in her arms. Sources 6:70. In his heart he adored the child, who had become a gift for humanity, and he followed his likeness in those who most closely showed his features. So much so that once, meeting a poor man and observing his extreme nakedness, he said to the friar who was accompanying him, "I have chosen poverty as my wealth and my wife, but behold, it shines even more in this man. Don't you know that the fame has spread throughout the world that we are the poorest for the love of Christ? But this poor man convinces us that things are not so. Sources 671. Following the star of the holy evangelical poverty with which Francis was in love, he arrived at the cave of the Manifestation, where all are called to adore the Son of God. He tasted beauty made flesh in another way, far from the many herds, sons of deception. The man of God stood before the manger, filled with pity, bathed in tears, overflowing with joy. Sources 1186. We saw his star when it rose, and have come to worship him. Matthew 2 verse 2. Epiphany of the Lord, Matthew 2 verses 1 to 12. Thank you all for your kind attention. We invite you to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our activities. If you liked it, leave a well done to support us. Subscribe, give your precious like, comment, and share with your friends. Thanks, see you soon.